So were you like me when you read these big stories that the cryptocurrency is crashed? It's finally crashed. Yeah, they've been predicting that for years that the cryptocurrency bubble, Bitcoin and the like, would eventually burst. Well, it looks like it has. Some of the big players, including Elon Musk, some of the big investors have lost up to $20 billion overnight. So cryptocurrency has crashed. So like me, are you going, oh, blimey, so it's crashed? And then I'm thinking, what exactly is cryptocurrency? So we need to talk to someone who understands all about this and is going to fill us in on the details of a very interesting financial situation. He is the chief executive of Fair Money, which is a personal finance and credit expert company. Roger Giwob. Good afternoon, Roger.
Good afternoon.
Can you explain to us, before we get to the details of what's going on right now, what exactly is cryptocurrency? What exactly is Bitcoin?
The best definition I've ever heard is that cryptocurrencies are everything that you don't understand about finance.
That's working for me so far.
Yeah, me too. Combined with everything you don't understand about computers and technology.
That pretty much sums it up. Now listen, what I've heard, Roger, is this, that basically Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, are based purely on people's faith in them as a currency. So whilst they believe in them, they will prosper. And a bit like the 17th century tulip trade, where tulips came to be valued as more than gold. One day, one guy turned around and said, why are we paying a fortune for these tulips? They're just flowers. And everyone went, you're right. So have we reached an emperor's new clothes situation with cryptocurrency? Have people turned around and said, wait a minute, this isn't worth anything? Is that what's going on?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I was just going to use that phrase. It is indeed the emperor's new clothes, but I don't think we've been there. I think if I may, there's several really important points that don't seem to get mentioned or reported in all of the news and all of the noise about cryptocurrencies all this time. So the first thing is what happened in the past, for example, is really difficult to understand for most people. Remember, most of the folks in the crypto world grew up playing computer games, living in alternative universes. And as a consequence, today's world and the world that we're going to soon inhabit, called Web 3.0 or the metaverse, are really easy for them to understand and not so much for most other people. Now, I'm first going to try to give some background and then suggest three ways that we can address this situation.
Yeah, can you just try to...
Some cryptocurrencies are backed up by the actual currency of a country.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what about Bitcoin? Is that backed up by an actual currency?
No.
Okay. So, well, look, let's try and cut to the chase. We haven't got that much time, Roger, and I realise it's difficult to explain to financial morons like me. But why has this cryptocurrency crash occurred now? What are the reasons?
The latest one, some currencies are tied to the currency of a specific country. So US dollar tether is a very large one like that. They're called stable coins. They must be stable. It depegged itself. It detached itself from the dollar last week. And being the largest, it caused a commotion. A sister company called Luna Terra crashed 99%, falling from $120 last month to $1. And people, as you say, lost billions and billions and billions. And because Tether provides a huge amount of liquidity to the trading market for all the other Bitcoin, as you've mentioned, Ethereum and the rest, they all tanked. Now, some pundits, as you say it's coming back. Elon Musk says his favorite coin, Dogecoin, is coming back. Warren Buffett says the whole thing's going to be worth absolutely zip. And the question is, what do you do now? Now, the newspapers are full of people saying, I've lost my life savings. I'm going to have to leave my home. One wonders why these poor folks sort of put their money into something so volatile. But, one thing that's going to happen for sure is that the government regulators are going to really start looking at this and hopefully tighten up especially those stable coins that are tied to their own country's currencies. But just to put things in perspective, if we hark back to the day of Lehman Brothers in 2007,
I remember
when the credit crunch and the financial crash happened, that whole subprime market, which destroyed the financial world and which we're still living with, was $1.7 trillion. Last year, the crypto market was already $2.4 trillion. It's now fallen by almost half. It's 1.2. So you can see why the regulators are terrified of another crash. The old crash was because normal people put normal mortgages on homes for too much money. This is a crash that nobody could explain to their children why it happened. Only a very small percentage of people would even be able to, it's like being hit by a meteor, by a rocket. So I have three pieces, if I may, of advice at this time. The first is it's really simple. Read the stories of what happened last week. Find out why certain currencies fell, what made them fall, how they fell. If at the end of that you don't understand it doesn't excite you, then for goodness sake, don't put your money into this thing. It would be insane to invest something where you can't even understand how people lost. The second thing is, as a consequence of this, there are a whole bunch of new firms. Every day I see one appearing saying, hey, we're crypto wealth managers. Wealth managers saying, we'll look after your money, it'll be safe. And these guys are saying the same thing, and they're promising returns of 20% a year. So you got to ask yourself, what is a 20% a year return like where somebody can lose 99% of their value in 4 days? The famous YouTuber, KSI, if anybody's heard of him here, had a $2.7 million position in Luna a couple of weeks ago, which ended up being less than $50,000 worth at the end of last week.
Right.
Now, the third thing I would say is that every time there's a market dip like this, buyers come in droves, retail buyers particularly, mas and pas with their houses, they come piling in and they make fortunes. And the big financial institutions seem to pile in every time and make off like bandits. And we have now got the worst dip ever, if not in a very, very long while. So if you've got the appetite and you've got the cash to lose and the time and the willingness to do the research, go for it. Because you're not going to see an opportunity like this for a long time. You may lose everything, but you could also, as many people have done and are going to do in the next 3 weeks, make 10 times your money.
But could this crash, this crypto crash, could that affect the more traditional financial markets? I mean, the stock market.
Totally.
Well, tell us about that. How can that happen?
Totally. Well, first of all, people could lose their savings. People could lose their investments. And, let's say that you've got 10,000 pounds in cryptocurrencies and you've got 50,000 pounds in traditional investments. Well, if that 10,000 goes and the market starts to wobble, you're going to sell your 50,000 as well, or at least a large part of it. As soon as you sell, your neighbor sells, his brother-in-law sells, and markets start to go down. It's a very easy pyramid. It's a California forest fire.
So is this a worrying moment then?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it'll end up as Mr. Buffett said. I think there will be so many people who understand enough about this, who come in and buy at these incredible lows. Come on, something. I offered you something that was $120 last month. You might give me $10. And if it comes back only 25%, you turn to your partner and say, oh my God, that's easy money. So I think a lot of people will come back and profit from this dip. That will raise the market. The hype will start over again. I mean, only this morning they are proposing that Bitcoin, which was $59,000 last November, I believe, and about 30,000 this morning, will be worth 100,000 by the end of the year.
So, I mean, these cryptocurrencies, what I've always heard, again, not being me, not really understanding it, is the problem with them is their volatility, that they're too volatile.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're experiencing now, right?
Well, there's two things. They're volatile and they're unregulated. There is no regulator. They don't belong to any country. They're out in cyberspace. So no country can legislate very much. Some do. China has banned them, but even that ban doesn't seem to be working. So it's the fact that they're unregulated and no government can ensure investor protection, and the fact that they're so volatile, because you've got people with ginormous stacks of money, some of whom have made it in 4 minutes. So they don't care about losing a lot of it. And they will take incredible risk, which drives the market to tremendous highs and lows.
Would you advise people to invest in cryptocurrency?
It's not a game for the faint-hearted.
Would you?
Yeah, what I'm saying is if I'm sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying, would you advise people to invest in cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I just said if I came over and I offered you a Luna that was $120 last month for $1, would you give me $5? Sure you would.
Yeah. So
there's a good chance it might come back.
But is there also a chance that that's it for cryptocurrency? It's finished?
No, I don't believe so.
So you feel it will build back?
Goldman Sachs made the first ever Bitcoin loan last week or the week before, I think it was last week. You don't get the institutional and government attention and initiatives and everything else around something that is a tulip bubble, as you said, or a Madoff Ponzi scheme or a South Sea bubble. There's just too much at stake. There's too much going on, number one, too much activity. And number two, it's almost twice the size of the whole subprime market that caused the financial crashes. It's too big to fail, as they say. It's too big to be ignored.
It's extraordinary and fascinating. And Roger, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed on the cryptocurrency crash. Roger Gewolb there, he's the Chief Executive of Fair Money, which is a personal finance and credit expert company. When we come back after the news, don't